Yo, it's Rio. Gonna record my first hero build guide here for the Evercore Heroes closed beta. The hero I've been playing the most so far is Zari. It's kind of this ranged 80 carry marksman type hero here, and archer based, that type of thing. Pretty small hero roster to start off with as far as the closed beta goes, but uh, yeah, this is kind of like the first archetype that I play in every game. So anyway, going over Zari here. I believe this map is Hoarfrost Harbor, and so I'll go over the build guide. I have three different builds here for three of the main different maps right now. None of these use any random items or secret shop items, so these are builds you can go and basically play in every game, and if you get a better item that you think would be better or whatever, you can replace this, and then I'll just let the game in the background play through. So, to start off with here, I'm going to go for Seed of Rage. Basically, you just want to get physical power items and then a little bit of attack speed. That's kind of how this hero works. We're going to max E first because this does the highest amount of damage per cast, and it's also AoE. So this lets us clear camps very quickly and just gives us overall good AoE damage. And then second, we're going to be maxing Q. Our passive is after every 5 auto attacks, one of our basic abilities is empowered. We basically always want to use this primarily on Q. If we get enough attack speed where we can get multiple of these, we want to use the second one on W. You pretty much never want to go for the blind on E, so even though E is our highest ability and we're maxing it first, you mostly want to be buffing Q with your passive. So we're going to go double E, double Q, and then just 1 point in W. You really don't need this until late game. This is kind of a button that's mostly only useful on these higher health mobs or on bosses or things like that. So again, starting off going Seed of Rage. Biggest tip I can give you to start out with, I know we're already past this in the game in the background, but is before you get to the first like town center or whatever and you have your first shop, try and guaranteed get minimum 500 gold off the starting camps in the first area. Sometimes you have to go a little bit out of your way to get the 500 gold. It's a little bit variable, but yeah. Also, I think most of the time, your damage carries should be the ones getting the bounty in order to like slingshot their gold ahead of. You don't really need extra like tank gold or support gold most of the time, from what I've been able to tell. So anyway, yeah. Basically, if there's an item on a map that requires time, you want to buy that item first so that you start stacking it very quickly. And then eventually you'll get one attack speed item kind of, and then later on you get kind of, you also go for the physical power items because that buffs your AoE damage, and for the majority of the game you're just AoE clearing camps, defending your core and things like that, or your base. Yeah, I don't know what the exact name of it is called. Anyway, and then only later in the game do you go for the kind of like attack speed items and stuff like that that are more single target focused. So anyway, Seed of Rage, of course, stacking item gives us physical power. We want both of those. We want to buy it early, so this is going to be our first buy. There is one of the maps, I don't know if it's this map in particular, but there's one map where the 500 gold item is, I forget the exact name of it, but it gives you physical power based on your missing health, and basically, unless you're playing in a coordinated team environment where you can intentionally take damage and not get healed, then that item could be good. But otherwise, I think most of the time you want to skip it and you don't want to even spend the 500 gold. You just want to save up to buy your 1500 or 1000 gold items later in the game. So you would just skip a first buy. But you still want to get to that 500 threshold because gold is shared across your team, and your teammates might have something that they have useful to buy with their first 500. Anyway, so Seed of Rage here. Then second item, we're going to go for Energize. This attack speed stacking is good, especially if you can keep it up and kite between camps and keep this rolling. And this is what would allow you to get 2 procs so that you could buff Q and buff W. And just the movement speed is nice. It helps moving around the map and, like I said, kiting camps together and getting a little bit of extra income and things like that. As you can see, those are the first 2 items I go for here in this game, of course. Then next, we're going to go for Seed of Support. This is another stacking item. We're going to go for it third, though, and not second, because this only gives stacking crit chance, and the healing power isn't really useful for us. It's just kind of the best 5th item, but because it's a stacking item, we're going to buy it third. But this is mostly a single target item. The crit chance, it does help a little bit in AoE clear and things like that. Generally, the way PvE stuff works is you want to use your AoE clear to kill off all the small mobs, just like by happenstance, and you want to focus your damage, like your W, into the bigger health, higher health mobs, tankier mobs like these. So fourth item, we're going to go 3 times the charm. This is essentially the same as just auto attack damage. It's good item, good for killing that end boss at the end, but not really too important otherwise. And then last item here, we're going to go for scraping shots, which shreds armor whenever we basic attack an enemy. If you could switch these last 2 items, depending on your team comp. So some comps, generally the way the game works right now, you either want to go a basically all magic damage team comp or a all physical damage team comp, because several heroes like Zari, for example, have armor shred either in their item paths like this or in their kit itself. And so rather than splitting it half and half, you can be buffing your entire team's damage rather than only 50% of your team's damage with shredding armor like this. So if you have multiple other physical damage heroes, I think buying scraping shots 4th and 3rd times the charm last might be better. Otherwise, if you're the main like single target damage to focus boss or the enemy mobs and things like that, I can say right now I've played, I think it was around maybe 6 hours of games total, maybe 5. I don't know how many games that was. I was just spam queuing that whole time. I wasn't counting, but every single game I've played, whether I mean, I haven't won every game, but when I've lost even, every single game I've played, at the point where I was out of the game, I was the top damage across all 16 players in the game, every single time by playing this hero and this build path that I figured out and things like that. Or the skill order. So that's for Hoarfrost Arbor here. Second map here is the Treetops map. Very recognizable map. Same build path. You go the same skill order path on every map. Here we're going to go for Shiny Shiv. This is, I believe, a 500 cost item. That's not on this site, so it was a little bit hard to figure out the correct build path for cost-wise. But this gives you attack speed based on the gold that you have. And so if you can buy this with 500 gold and then go around the map, you're going to be stacking up 1,000, 2,000, almost 3,000 gold sometimes. So this will very easily hit the cap most of the time while you're actually playing the map. And then you can build into the more direct damage items like Titan's Fury, just flat physical power, good. Brawler, I go for the extra health here as just a baseline, and 200 physical power. There's another item on this map, Thorn Armor. That's what we're going to buy 4th. This gives armor. I don't know whether armor is better than health. Right now, I'm just going to go health. In theory, Thorn Armor might be better. I don't know. I don't know how armor exactly works in this game yet. And then last, we're going to go for Inspiration. Damage against marked targets. This is basically for the boss. You buff your whole team's damage by doing this. And yeah, same skill order as always. For some R usage also, a quick tip here. You basically want to fire all 3 shots together because the first shot reduces the target's armor, and even though it does magic damage, the second shot does magic damage, okay, fine, but then the third shot is your highest physical damage hit, and so you want to get the third shot in while the enemy has the 30% armor debuff from the first shot. So you basically want to just go R, left click, left click 3 times, left click, 1, 2, 3, to hit all 3, and use them all at once or whatever. And you basically want to do it when your other buttons are on cooldown, not while you have your W duration up. Okay, last map, we have the Crew Mines here, and same skill order again. We're going to go for Titan's Fury first item, then Well of Strength. This is a damage buff while not having taken damage. You can see in this game, actually in the background that I picked, I made a very dumb play here in trying to solo this Yeti while the rest of my team was doing some other stuff, just because I was kind of like testing stuff, seeing if I could. But I got hit here and then got slowed and got stuck in the AoE. And then nobody on my team is around to res me, so this was unfortunate. But anyway, Well of Strength is 400 physical power at cap if you keep the buff up by not taking damage. So the better you get at the game, the better this item is going to be, because you shouldn't be taking damage, especially on this hero. Then we're going to go for Haste as our 3rd item. 4th item, we're going to go for Golden Blade. This is just gold as a percentage of but physical power instead of attack speed. I believe this is the 500 cost item, so this is actually most of the time I think going to be your first item, just by the nature of the cost. But in terms of power, this caps at 200 physical power, and for several points in the game, you're going to drop down to near 0 gold, and then you won't be getting as much value out of this. So it's kind of the 4th best item compared to these first 3, actually. These are like the big ticket items that you want to be purchasing. And I believe you want to purchase Titan's Fury just because it's guaranteed, kind of. Well of Strength might be better. I don't know. It depends on the cost or whatever. Maybe we can see if I go to the shop here in a second. And then last, we're going to go for Inspiration. Now, here's the thing. I have here listed Golden Blade and then Inspiration as listed as our 4th and 5th item here. There's another item called Smite, which has a 20% chance to do a bunch of extra damage as magic damage. You can choose any 2 of these 3 as your 4th and 5th item between Golden Blade, Smite, and Inspiration. If you have somebody else on your team that is building Smite naturally, or just like a support hero or something, or a tank, I don't know if these stack. I would suspect that they don't, and then you wouldn't have to buy it. And so you could then build Golden Blade Smite and get the highest damage that way. But if you're the only person on your team, just based on how the comps work out or whatever, that is going to be buying Inspiration, then it's probably the best buy, and you want to buy Inspiration plus 1 of the other 2. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure on the math, I believe Golden Blade would be higher than Smite, depending on the amount of gold that you are sitting with at the end of the game. So, that's all I got. I will close this window here and let you watch the rest of this game finish out. We end up winning this. End up doing some clutch dodges here. This is the final boss fight. I believe this was the first time I had played this map and seen this boss, so we were just kind of reacting to it, but that's my Zari guide.